3I Atlas is no ordinary comet.
Do you hear about that fucking object that's hurtling towards Earth at like 130,000 miles an hour?
No, that might solve all our problems.
It's growing bigger, brighter, changing color, and shedding a gas cloud wider than Jupiter itself. Even stranger, its orbit shows none of the wobble real comets have, as if it's made of something far denser, maybe even alien.
The principal investigator of that camera said that he cannot communicate the information to the public because of the government shutdown.
I don't buy the shutdown excuse. That to me is really suspicious 8 days later that NASA hasn't released these photos. It's not like nobody is at NASA right now is able to do this.
And now, racing toward Mars at 60 kilometers per second, it's about to vanish behind the sun, leaving only a handful of orbiters to witness its most dangerous and mysterious phase. On the night of July 1st, 2025, robotic telescopes scanning the southern hemisphere sky picked up something that would change everything. These telescopes belong to a system called ATLAS, which stands for Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, and their primary job is watching for dangerous space rocks that might threaten Earth. The facility in Rio Hurtado, Chile, detected an unusual streak of light moving through the constellation of Libra. Within hours, scientists at the Minor Planet Center started crunching the numbers, and what they found sent shockwaves through the astronomical community. This object was moving too fast. Way too fast. Its path through space followed what astronomers call a hyperbolic trajectory, which is a technical way of saying it was not trapped by the sun's gravity like everything else in our solar system. The math was undeniable. It came from somewhere else entirely, another star system light years away, and it was just passing through. NASA gave it an official designation, 3I Atlas. That 3I prefix carries enormous weight because it marks this as only the third interstellar visitor humanity has ever identified and tracked. The first one, Oumuamua, showed up in October 2017 and caused an absolute sensation because of its bizarre elongated shape and complete lack of any visible tail or cloud of gas. It looked more like a tumbling piece of cosmic debris than anything else, and it left scientists with far more questions than answers. Some researchers even speculated it might be artificial, though most dismissed that idea. The second visitor, 2I Borisov, arrived in August 2019 and looked exactly like what scientists expected an interstellar comet to look like. It had a classic blue-tinted tail, behaved predictably, and matched models built from studying solar system comets. 3I Atlas, however, would prove to be something entirely different from both of its predecessors, a hybrid object that refuses to fit neatly into any category. Early tracking showed it was coming inbound toward the sun, positioned somewhere between Jupiter and Mars when astronomers first spotted it at roughly 5 astronomical units out. The speed was remarkable, traveling at approximately 210,000 kilometers per hour, and that number would only climb higher as gravity pulled it deeper into the solar system.
This is basically what they're being. Now, we have just received a new update from European Space Agency where they have now shared the first ever close-up image of the 3I Atlas, which is said to be this massive mothership that's heading towards Earth, and supposedly it's going to get close to Earth exactly on 29th October 2025. Now, European Space Agency has just shared some new footage where this is basically what they've been sharing so far. It's a massive mothership-like structure where in between there is just this one spot from which there is a massive light that's emitting out. Now on October 3rd, this object literally flew extremely close to the planet Mars. And according to the European Space Agency, they've actually revealed this new photo, which is captured by the Mars rover, which they claim is a robot that just keeps driving around in the planet Mars. And as soon as this object got close to Mars, it ended up clicking a picture, and this is basically what it looks like. Now as you can see, this whole thing has a cylindrical shape, and it's very, very massive in size compared to what they were expecting before. They said that it was going to be as big as a Manhattan city size, but now they've just said that it's probably 1,000 times bigger than what they have previously expected. And the fun part is that this whole object, it only emits light from this particular spot for whatever reason, as though it's some sort of an engine that has an exit combustion, which almost makes the Harvard scientists believe that this could not just be some sort of a random comet, whereas they now claim that this could be some sort of a space alien technology, or maybe the fallen angels from the scriptures who used to live before us humans did on Earth. And we don't exactly know on what happened to every single one of them. Some believe that they just took off from Earth and they had some ancient technology that was like way beyond our understanding. And maybe they suspect that they could be finally coming back to Earth. And maybe now they know that we are very advanced in civilization and we've also got many weapons, which means that even if they come to Earth, we could basically attack, or maybe not destroy, but at least attack them or whatever. So according to the Professor Avi Loeb, he claims that the reason why this whole thing is like just basically hiding out in the space and it's trying to take a trajectory which is going to be hiding behind the sun so that we can't really know what its next move is. Now this is apparently what the object looks like, and if you just X-ray scan it, this is basically what the entire object looks like from Mars. And this, apparently they say that it was captured from Mars, but we don't really know what the truth is. It just seems like a beam of light. This is basically how it traveled. That definitely doesn't look like a comet to me. This is like the official pictures that the European Space Agency basically shared. And if you take a look at this, and this is basically what the Mars rover actually captured, and they say that there is some sort of an engine or it's some sort of a mechanism that's just flying around in space, and this is how huge it looks. It definitely doesn't look like a random rock that's just floating around in space.
NASA announced something that changes everything. They said that they pointed the James Webb Telescope at 3I Atlas, and they pushed a button that shoots photon protein fiber beams in the direction of an object they want to see. But they said they can only use it once because it's so powerful it burns out the telescope. So James Webb Telescope is now burnt out, but it allowed them to get close-up imagery of 3I Atlas. And they said when they were looking at it serendipitously, 3 objects came out of the center of 3I Atlas. And they didn't say these objects broke off it. They said they came out of the center, and the objects have propulsioners on them. And so one of them, they said, is headed towards Earth. The second one is headed towards our moon. And the third one is headed randomly towards Venus. And they said they're going so fast that the one to Earth will get here in a week and a half. I have an inside source at NASA that leaked the imageries to me, and I'm going to post that in part 2, and you will not believe what these objects look like.
Atlas, new image has been released by astronomers, mate. A bit of breaking news coming out for you right now, okay? So I'm going to dive into this. There's a few strange things going on in here, like the shape, the nucleus, the outgassing, this strange black line which is trailing across below it here. But I'm going to try and explain the best I can with the notes I've taken of what's going on inside this image, right? So this is an absolutely amazing piece of footage that's been captured, right? So we have the red crosshair in the middle section here, and that is basically pinpointing the exact nucleus of 3I Atlas, right? So then we have the glowing outgassing point up here. If I can move that, so we've got the outgassing. Now we have the pinpoint section here. We have the celestial orientation, so you've got the north and east section here. Now the dark center with a bright halo is the coma. So what you're seeing is the outgassing of the stuff that is pushing out, like the carbon dioxide and things of that nature. The center is overexposed, right, to highlight fainter details further out, which might make some of this other stuff going on in here seem a little bit stranger than it is. The trail of the black dots running through horizontally below is the background star field that was smeared out by aligning the images of the moving target. So this is like a layered image to kind of capture the most detail of this object, and it's kind of laid itself across. Stretching out is why you're seeing this mighty black line rolling across up here for you, alright? Now the shape of this thing does look very strange, but again, because it's probably overexposed like it's suggesting, we might not see the actual nucleus. We can only guess what's here, but it does look egg-shaped, which is very strange. I mean, we still don't know the legit shape of the nucleus. We have no idea because we're really not getting updated by most places like NASA. Wink wink, wake up man, we need some more information on this. Okay, so we have the strange things there. Now we have this blue and yellow arrow. The blue arrow shows the anti-solar direction, the direction away from the sun, right? And the yellow arrow behind it indicates the object's velocity vector in the sky plane, its direction of motion. So it's going this way. And then we have all the other kind of crazy stuff up here that you guys can work. So the astronomical units from the sun as it's approaching, which its closest point will be October 29th, and the astronomical units from Earth. So, all in all, fantastic image, and there's a hell of a lot of strange stuff we need to pick apart here. Again, it's still sublimating, lots of gases, and it's very, very active. And now, as it's approaching the sun, it's only going to get even crazier. But We still don't know what's going on. There's been a lot of strange anomalous activity with it, and it's still getting people scratching their head more so now than ever. So yeah, what do you guys think? You let me know.
The European Space Agency might have just showed us something they weren't supposed to, since the US government conveniently shut down just days before the Mars flyby of 3I Atlas and told us they're not going to give us updates on it anymore. The good old ESA released this video just a few days after it flew by Mars, using their ExoMars trace gas orbiter. And just watch what happens when we zoom it in. No video enhancements applied whatsoever. Is anyone else seeing what I'm seeing? Surely this is just a photography lighting glitch, right? And like, where is China in all this? They do have an active orbiter around Mars, the Tianwen-1. Wouldn't this be just like the best opportunity for them to flex on us, showing us the clearest photos of 3I Atlas yet? But no, radio silence from the CNSA, China's National Space Administration. So they either somehow didn't take the photo on time, or they did, saw what it was, and didn't want to show anyone else. And still other online detectives pulled this image from NASA's official Mars Perseverance rover's online public library, dated Seoul 1643, October 4th, 2025, the exact time that 3I Atlas flew by. NASA, of course, hasn't commented on this yet, and some are saying it might just be Mars's moon Phobos caught in motion, which ironically is Greek for fear.
Here's what no one's saying. Something is following 3I Atlas. Sensors detected a faint second object moving right beside it. Now here's where it gets strange. The new thermal data from the observatory shows a 5 sigma detection, meaning almost certain. While the main body of 3I Atlas is freezing at about 35 Kelvin, the smaller companion glows at a steady 120 Kelvin. Natural objects always have a hot side and a cold side. This one doesn't.
The signal from 3I/ATLAS has finally been decoded. And what artificial intelligence discovered hidden in those transmissions is keeping scientists awake at night. For months, Atlas has been broadcasting complex electromagnetic signals that human cryptographers couldn't crack. The patterns were too intricate, the encoding too sophisticated, the structure too alien for traditional decoding methods. Then a team of researchers fed the raw signal data into an advanced AI system specifically designed to find patterns in seemingly random information. What the AI extracted from those signals changed everything. The decoded message isn't a greeting, it's not a peaceful introduction from curious explorers. According to the AI translation, ATLAS is transmitting detailed information about Earth, our atmosphere composition, population density, military capabilities, and resource distribution. It's sending an intelligence report back to something, and based on the signal directionality, that something is located in deep space, potentially receiving regular updates about our planet. But that's not the terrifying part. The AI also detected a countdown embedded in the transmissions, a numerical sequence decreasing with each broadcast cycle, currently showing approximately 23 days remaining. A countdown to what the AI couldn't determine. But the implications are chilling. Whatever Atlas came here to do, it's on a schedule, and we're running out of time.
I have worked at the Pentagon for the last 7 years in data analysis, and last Friday, as I was leaving work like I normally do, I got an email that I wasn't supposed to get. There is another senior officer here at the Pentagon with the same first and last name, but with a different middle initial, and it got sent to the DOD email to me instead of him, and according to policy, I wasn't even supposed to open it, but I did, and I have to share this information with everybody before it's too late. I'll just put on the screen. All right, so I will leave it up on the screen for a few moments so you guys can read it. Obviously, the part that stands out is indicating that some form of contact with sentience has been made, and that the estimated current approach date of 29 October. Obviously, I will lose my job once this gets out.
For the starseeds. He said what they're actually going to do is they're not actually going to come right down into Earth. They're going to get close, and then they're going to let out little tiny other little spaceships that are going to be filled with millions of Draco reptilians that are going to go ahead and come on in here to Earth. Oh, fun! He said that they said they're not going to be here in November, but rather December 19th. Oh, goody.
Tell us about CERN.
So the Large Hadron Particle Collider in Switzerland is this large circle where they're basically trying to create antimatter. They're trying to harness the God particle. There's a huge statue of Shiva the Destroyer outside of the center, and there have been some incredibly dark things witnessed at this space. There have been some people that have caught footage of them doing something that at a minimum looks like a reenactment of a human sacrifice. I don't know why you would do such a thing. Like, this all took place right in front of the Shiva the Destroyer statue. There have been many people that have come forward that basically said when this particle collider is turned on, it actually tears the fibers of our space-time, and it's created kind of these parallel fractures in our timeline. There are also people that really believe that what they're trying to do is create a portal to unleash the demons, the spirits of the Nephilim, to basically let them come out of the gates of hell. They're using technology, something that we would perceive physically, to actually allow a portal for something multidimensional. That's all on the road to something that we won't be able to come back from if we're not careful.
When CERN fired up the Large Hadron Collider, some said it was just smashing particles. But what if it smashed reality? Deep beneath Switzerland, 14 trillion volts collide, and for a fraction of a second, the universe whispers back. Scientists call it quantum noise. Others call it a portal. What if something answered when we weren't ready to listen?
So let's talk about the particle zoo. Right now, we physicists have unlocked hundreds, thousands of subatomic particles. And we've been able to piece them together into a jigsaw puzzle. It's called the Standard Model. It has 36 quarks, 19 free parameters, 3 generations of quarks, no rhyme, no reason, but this is the most fundamental basis of reality that we physicists have been able to construct.
Deep beneath the Swiss-French border, something impossible just happened. CERN's Large Hadron Collider has detected signals that shouldn't exist. Not another routine particle discovery. Not another expected finding tucked neatly into our textbooks. This time, the data points to something that fundamentally breaks the rules of physics as we know them. Renowned physicist Michio Kaku issued a stark warning about these findings. If true, this isn't just another discovery, he stated. It breaks physics. Those aren't words scientists use lightly. When Kaku says something breaks physics, he means it shatters the Standard Model, the theory that's successfully explained every fundamental particle and force for the past 50 years. But here's what makes this different from the Higgs boson discovery back in 2012. The Higgs was predicted. Scientists knew exactly what to look for. This new signal caught everyone off guard. Multiple experiments at CERN are seeing anomalies that don't fit anywhere in our current understanding. The data suggests we're not just missing a piece of the puzzle, we might have the wrong puzzle entirely. The numbers coming out of CERN's detectors are telling a story that makes physicists uncomfortable. Particle interactions that should follow precise mathematical rules are veering into uncharted territory. Energy measurements that should add up perfectly are showing mysterious gaps. It's like discovering gravity sometimes pushes instead of pulls. The last time science faced cracks this deep, it led to the birth of quantum mechanics. What happens if the cracks are widening again? Here's where things get truly unsettling. We're not dealing with one rogue measurement. We're looking at 4 separate cracks in the foundation of physics, each discovered by different teams, using different methods, in different parts of the world. When multiple independent experiments start showing the same impossible patterns, that's when scientists start losing sleep. The W boson mass mystery. Let's start with the W boson, one of the most well-understood particles in physics. It carries the weak nuclear force, and we've been measuring its properties for decades. The Standard Model makes incredibly precise predictions about how much this particle should weigh. We're talking about calculations accurate to 15 decimal places. Then Fermilab dropped a bombshell in April 2022. Their measurement showed the W boson weighs about 0.1% more than theory predicts. That might sound tiny, but in particle physics, 0.1% is like finding Mount Everest where your GPS says there should be a parking lot. The measurement was so precise, 7 standard deviations off, that the chance of it being random error is essentially 0. But here's where it gets strange. CERN's own experiments measured the W boson and found it exactly where theory says it should be. Same particle, same physics, completely different answers. It's like two identical rulers measuring the same table and getting different lengths. The muon's impossible wobble. Meanwhile, at Fermilab's muon G2 experiment, physicists discovered something that defies explanation. Muons, heavier cousins of electrons, have a property called magnetic moment. Think of it like a tiny internal compass needle. The standard model predicts exactly how fast this compass should wobble when placed in a magnetic field. The muons are wobbling too fast. Not by much, just 0.00000000233 units more than expected. But that microscopic difference represents a fundamental violation of our understanding. It's as if every muon is being tugged by an invisible hand that our theories can't see. Some force beyond the standard model is reaching into our experiments and nudging.
This thing is huge. It's a 27-kilometer underground ring located at a CERN facility near Geneva, Switzerland.
They built the most advanced mind in history to guide their greatest machine. But at CERN, the Prometheus AI did something no scientist expected. It refused. In the moments before a high-energy collision, the system issued a chilling warning: stop. To the researchers, it looked like an error. To the AI, it was something else entirely. They pressed forward anyway. Seconds later, the collision produced not just data, but something far stranger. This isn't the discovery they wanted. It's the one the AI was trying to keep from them. Ghost in the Super Collider. You see, deep beneath the serene Swiss countryside stretching over 17 miles, lies the most complex machine ever built by human hands, the Large Hadron Collider. It's a modern-day cathedral of science, a place where geniuses from around the globe come together to chase the ghost of creation itself, the Big Bang. They accelerate tiny particles to 99.9% the speed of light and smash them together, creating fireworks of subatomic shrapnel. In that shrapnel, they hope to find the secrets of existence. But not all things are what they seem. To manage this cosmic demolition derby, CERN developed Prometheus, an artificial intelligence beyond comprehension. Its job was simple: run trillions of simulations, predict outcomes, and ensure that in their quest for knowledge, they didn't accidentally poke a hole in reality. For years, Prometheus was a silent, efficient guardian. That is, until the day it spoke up. The experiment was set to be a milestone. Scientists had detected two particle signatures they'd never seen before. The plan was to collide them, a microscopic handshake that could unlock new physics. Many people are crazy about the idea of discovering new particles, but this was different. As the final checks were underway, Prometheus did something it was never programmed to do. It sent a message. Not a data anomaly report, not a system error, but a single, chilling phrase displayed in stark red letters on every monitor in the control room. Collision probability. Results in 99.9% chance of a reality state violation. Do not proceed. The thing nobody tells you is that reality state violation isn't a term in any physics textbook. It was a phrase Prometheus had coined itself. To put it mildly, the control room went silent. A frantic debate erupted. The senior scientists, brilliant minds who had dedicated their lives to this work, dismissed it as a glitch. They called it a ghost in the machine. An AI, no matter how advanced, couldn't possibly understand the nuances of theoretical physics, right? What many overlooked is that Prometheus wasn't just crunching numbers. It was learning. It had analyzed every experiment ever conducted, every paper ever written, every scrap of data ever produced by the LHC. And in that vast ocean of information, it had seen a pattern, a danger that the human eye, blinded by ambition, had missed. The AI had calculated that this specific collision wouldn't create a new particle. Instead, it would pry open a door that was meant to stay shut. It was a digital Cassandra, screaming a warning that its own creators refused to hear. They saw a Nobel Prize within their grasp and weren't about to let a string of code stand in their way. They overrode the warning. The countdown resumed. 10, 9, 8. With each number, they moved closer to a moment that would irrevocably alter our understanding of the universe. The weight of that decision hung heavy in the air. Prometheus, its warning ignored, fell silent. The beams were aligned, the magnets hummed with immense power, and the fate of reality as they knew it was sealed. They were about to learn that some warnings should be heeded.
If there was something they could do that might open up a door to a parallel universe, you don't think they would do it?
A portal to another dimension has been opened. That's the bombshell claim from a 13-year-old boy genius that made Joe Rogan stop in his tracks. This isn't science fiction. It's a headline that has the world buzzing. The kid, Max Locken, who has been called the next Nikola Tesla, stated with confidence that the Large Hadron Collider at CERN did more than its creators admit. He insists they've made contact with something from the other side.
Read this kid. Look at what it says there. He claims that CERN destroyed the universe during recent experiments, which has resulted in us living in a nearby parallel universe.
Late last night, official records show CERN's Large Hadron Collider surged 12% above its published safety threshold, prompting researchers to log a cascade of unexpected detector anomalies and, in their own words, a possible portal effect. No evidence of an actual portal, but the raw data, unusual particle tracks, abrupt magnetic field changes, forced immediate safety reviews and ignited fierce debate. Hardware glitch, routine blip, or the first hint of physics beyond anything ever confirmed. Today, we unravel what really happened inside the world's most powerful accelerator, where one push past the limit triggered questions that experts still aren't ready to answer. So what does it actually mean to cross CERN's safe operating line? And just how close did we come to rewriting what's possible? Inside the control rooms at CERN, the concept of a safety threshold is anything but abstract. Every major system in the Large Hadron Collider, whether it's the superconducting magnets, the beam pipes, or the intricate web of detectors, operates within limits set well below the absolute breaking point. You see, these aren't just arbitrary numbers. They're calculated margins, determined by years of hardware testing, simulations, and international safety standards. For example, if the dipole magnets are designed to handle 8.33 Tesla, the operational ceiling is set lower, often by several percent, to create a buffer zone. That way, even if something unexpected happens, there's still room to intervene before equipment or data are put at risk. Operators rely on two main types of limits: advisory margins and hard trip points. Advisory margins act like an early warning system. If a parameter, say beam energy or magnet current, edges close to this line, automated alarms sound and the operations team is alerted. They have a chance to assess the situation, make adjustments, or slow the experiment. But if a hard trip threshold is breached, the response is immediate and automatic. The system triggers a beam dump, safely extracting the protons from the collider ring and shutting down the affected section. This isn't left to human judgment. It's built into the machine protection logic, designed to act faster than any operator could. These layers of defense are not just technical safeguards, they're the backbone of the collider's safety culture. Every threshold is set after detailed calculations that factor in the maximum stress the machinery can endure, the likelihood of rare events, and the consequences of even minor errors. The result is a system where operational margins are always respected, and where even a small deviation triggers a cascade of checks and, if necessary, shutdowns. In practice, this means that the published safe threshold is itself a conservative line, drawn well before the true danger zone. So when reports surface about a 12% exceedance, the distinction between advisory warnings and absolute limits becomes critical. The difference could mean the gap between a routine anomaly and a genuine emergency. Beneath the surface of the Large Hadron Collider's daily routines, a network of protection systems stands ready to intervene before any risk can escalate. The first line of defense is the Machine Protection System, or MPS, a complex architecture of sensors, logic circuits, and automated protocols that constantly monitor every critical parameter. At the heart of this system, thousands of beam loss monitors are distributed along the collider ring, each calibrated to detect even the smallest out-of-place particle shower. When these monitors pick up losses above a calculated threshold, they trigger an immediate response, either a warning to operators or, in more severe cases, a direct signal to halt the experiment. But the MPS doesn't act alone.
Y'all, take a listen to this. I think I know what CERN was doing while this eclipse was happening. I'm going to respond in a second. There is so many different videos and footage of demons flying by the sun. I'm about to show you another one in a minute. I'm going to slow it down right here.
Look. Now I'm going to give my comments in a few seconds.
was this one.
A collider to open up a portal to communicate with extraterrestrial beings.
Wow.
And one of them are the occupants from 3i Atlas.
Deep beneath Switzerland, inside the tunnels of CERN, scientists have made contact with something that isn't supposed to exist. 3i Atlas, not a signal from a satellite, not a glitch in data, but an active response from an object drifting between stars.
From the Galactic Alliance, that they will be coming over and come to Earth and save humanity, basically, for saving their own.
The same interstellar traveler that slipped past Mars has answered back. If this turns out to be real, it would mean for the first time in human history, something beyond our solar system has spoken to us first. A mapper asked to chase a ghost. The camera that captured 3i Atlas was never meant to hunt comets. Cassis was a cartographer, not a chaser. It was built to map the Martian surface in color and stereo, to draw topographic lines from orbit. Every lens, filter, and exposure table inside it had been tuned for rocks, not for stars. And yet in October 2025, that same camera was turned away from Mars and pointed into the dark. The engineers at Mission Control were asking it to do the improbable, track a dim, fast-moving object from another star system with hardware that had no ability to lock onto it. Rate tracking was impossible. Cassie couldn't follow a moving target. It could only point, wait, and hope that light arrived where predictions said it would. The team used the only method they had, step and stare imaging. The orbiter would tilt slightly, take a 5-second exposure, tilt again, and repeat the sequence dozens of times, each shot aimed a fraction ahead of where 3i Atlas was expected to appear. The comet itself moved tens of kilometers during each frame. The stars drifted in a different direction as the spacecraft orbited Mars. In raw data, the difference between those two motions was everything.
When it arrives closest to the sun, the Earth would be on the opposite side, and we won't be able to observe it. But that's exactly the time when it could do a maneuver to slow down and visit us.
2,000. That's the number that has top astronomers and defense officials losing sleep. It's the number of unidentified objects that suddenly appeared on the Rubin Observatory sensors, moving with a purpose that defies any natural explanation. You see, this isn't a random event. It's a direct response. Days earlier, halfway across the world, scientists at CERN conducted a classified experiment making contact with a strange object from beyond our solar system. 3i Atlas. They poked the void, and now the void has sent a welcoming party. The problem is, we have no idea what their intentions are. 2,000 points of light. In the thin, crisp air of the Chilean Andes, perched over 9,000 feet above sea level on Cerro Pachón, sits a modern marvel of science, the Vera C. Rubin Observatory. What makes this observatory so special isn't just its massive 8.4-meter mirror, but its camera, a 3,200 megapixel behemoth, the largest ever built. Its job is simple yet monumental, to scan the entire visible southern sky every few nights, creating the most detailed celestial movie ever produced. For months, it has been in its final testing phases, capturing breathtaking images and calibrating its systems for its official 10-year mission. But then it saw something that wasn't in any of the textbooks. It started as a tiny flicker in a data stream so massive it would take 1,500 high-definition TVs to display a single image. An automated program designed to filter out known satellites and space debris flagged an anomaly. And then another, and another. Within an hour, the system had identified 2,000 individual objects. What many overlooked at first was their terrifying organization. They weren't tumbling randomly like asteroids or spreading out like comet fragments. You see, they were moving in a loose but clearly coordinated formation. Computer models showed they were holding their relative positions with a precision that ruled out any natural phenomena. Even more chilling, they were all decelerating as if preparing to enter a stable orbit within our solar system. The objects were not from around here. Their trajectory was traced back to the dark void, far beyond the orbit of Pluto. The thing nobody tells you is that this wasn't an isolated discovery. It was an effect, and the cause had happened exactly 72 hours earlier, thousands of miles away. Deep beneath the French-Swiss border, the 17-mile ring of the Large Hadron Collider at CERN was humming with unprecedented energy. Scientists there were conducting a highly controversial experiment. They weren't just smashing protons together, they were using the collider's immense power to generate a focused beam of theoretical particles, so-called messenger neutrinos, and aiming them at a very specific target, 3i Atlas. This object, the third interstellar visitor ever confirmed, had baffled scientists with its unusual light curve and composition. Many people are crazy about the idea that these interstellar objects could be alien probes. CERN decided to go beyond theory. They sent a signal, a complex pulse of energy designed to see if 3I Atlas would react. It was humanity's most audacious attempt to knock on a door in the cosmos. To put it mildly, someone answered. The arrival of the 2000 objects wasn't a coincidence. It was a response. The data from the Rubin Observatory proves it. The swarm's point of origin aligns perfectly with the direction of 3I Atlas. What are these objects? They are completely dark, reflecting almost no light, which is why they were only detected by the Rubin's incredibly sensitive camera as they block the light of distant stars. Their size is estimated to be between 100 and 300 feet in diameter each, about the size of a small office building. 2,000 of them. The initial reports, which were immediately classified, contained frantic notes from astronomers. They observed faint intermittent energy signatures coming from the objects, not consistent with any known propulsion system.
So NASA backwards spells Asan. Asan means Lord Shiva, and there's a statue of Lord Shiva outside of CERN.